So very good evening to all the participants present. So the ones who've been with me in the past two sessions, like we shared a lot on what kind of emotional abuse can the exclusively we are dealing here with relationship with the spouse. It can be both the male and the female who are a survivor of emotional abuse. In that, first we looked into passive aggressive patterns and of a narcissistic abuse. We were looking into passive aggressive patterns and how the survivor can help themselves to deal with and to put up with those kind of patterns, how they can self work and to get more clarity about that concept that somebody is doing this kind of an passive aggression to someone, to the spouse, so to get an idea about it. And secondly, we were looking into stonewalling, where the spouse can use manipulative tactics where they don't come to the point. Any question which needs a clarification, they don't provide replies to it, and thereby the issue is not solved. It's kept unresolved. They might use tactics like procrastination, not opening the mouth, and we also saw a little bit about silent treatment, how delaying responses and not getting to the point and beating around the bush for a very long time, and no such kind of treatments which one spouse can do to the other, which can emotionally cause a lot of damage to the one who is being a victim at one point. Later, when the realization comes that I am victimized, the person becomes a survivor. So here we were looking into stonewalling, and as a continuation of how people like the spouse, the partner in the relationship can self-help. We're continuing with that. So in case if you need information about what we looked into in the previous sessions, you can look into the video records of I can share those video records with you, the previous records. We've done three sessions earlier. And in this emotional regulation which we were talking about is the channelizing of the emotions in the right way. So at times when we are put in tough situations, and we need to handle it as an adult, we need to handle it, and the only option that we have is to get stronger emotionally and learn to that the art of channelizing the emotion. So when I'm getting stonewalled, or my spouse has been exhibiting kind of silent treatment, it is not that I should shout. It's not that I can express whatever emotion I'm going through just the way I feel, like banging the self on the wall. Some people engage in this kind of behaviors, like banging on the wall, screaming, yelling, continuous crying, and getting hospitalized as a result of it, taking too much of stress, and then indulging in self-harm behaviors and not sleeping, not eating properly, and thereby losing out on the physical health. These are certain things people can do. But once we recognize that our spouse is actually having a kind of an pattern or traits which are abusive emotionally, as I keep telling you, any form of physical abuse can be recognized because it is like shown, the hits, the marks, whatever the bleeding, the swelling can be shown outside, but any form of emotional hurt is not that visible, and people don't consider it to be very important in our society due to lack of awareness. I think a generation ahead had no awareness of these kind of terms unless they're into this, I mean, a psychology background, or they're mental health professionals, or they're like well read in certain areas. They wouldn't recognize the fact that there is an emotional abuse happening to uh, the person. It could be their daughter or it could be their son. They would say, you can adjust, please put up with it, because all of us have crossed all this and come in life, and they might give their own information, whatever knowledge they have. Based on that, they make the sharings. So it's okay to request a break from the partner. For example, let us just imagine a couple where the just an example of a client's case. The male, that is the husband, had taken a bigger amount of money from the wife for his family rituals, saying that they were running out of funds. By informing that, I mean, not informing, by trying to convince the wife that he would return, say, 1 lakh rupee. He has borrowed 1 lakh rupee from the wife for some family rituals. I mean, family rituals is which is happening, some ritual or ceremony which is happening in the husband's family. The wife is part of it, but it's not for the wife. It is anyway, I think it is a responsibility of the family. Generally, you I mean, the men in the family initiated in our society. Men are in charge of providing. No, they're the breadwinners, especially when it is something for the guy's family or guy's parents. It's the responsibility of the uh, I mean, the children in the family to take care of it, but not the daughter-in-law. No, generally they don't expect it from the daughter-in-law. In this particular case, the husband had borrowed 1 lakh rupee from the wife for his family personal rituals, and has promised to return that money to the wife in a week's time. He had informed that some money in rotation has to come back to him, and he would return it in 1 week's time. After 4.5 years, still 4.5 years of their marriage life, this still he hasn't returned that 1 lakh rupee back. Whenever the wife raises a question about it, or whenever she however she asks, whether it is in a polite way, few times they ask in a polite way, because everybody has needs. We don't know what the wife's need is. She might need it for their own family expense, the husband, wife, and their children. The man did not respond. See, giving a response, and it's okay for the other person can understand, maybe. If it's an understanding person, definitely the person may have been having some understanding, and that is why she had given a bigger amount to the spouse. So, in these kind of scenarios, communication is very important. Just communicating that I'm sorry, I was not able to make it, or maybe if he was not definitely in a situation to return it in 1 week's time, he should have conveyed that whenever possible I will return it to you, instead of saying I will give it back to you in 1 week, because you like put trust in a person's head. No, you sow seeds of trust that that person will be getting back that amount uh, within a week's period, and then you don't respond to it when you're questioned, because immediately after a week they generally don't ask. Maybe they also understand that In this case, the wife didn't ask immediately. Maybe she felt that there should be some need, and that is why he's not given it back to me. After 6 months after marriage, maybe she asks. Then he doesn't respond. He gives some or the other reasons, some lies, some manipulative techniques or something. And after 4.5 years of a marriage, somewhere that woman gets too much frustrated because now there are children in the marriage. She has to provide for the children. She's not working. That 1 lakh is a very big amount, and moreover she had borrowed it from her parents, so she's answerable to her parents as well. So this is a scenario. So here, if the person is not responding, then there is a need for that individual, for that wife, to not get emotional but to act in a more intelligent way. We can go by our emotions, but once we realize and acknowledge the fact that our spouse is not this kind of person who's going to reciprocate it due to his own reasons, whatever mental health reasons he can have, or whatever patterns he learned from his childhood, or no, people are very different. Everybody is not a straightforward person. Sometimes being straightforward can also cause problems to people, but I think at any given situation, we learn to adapt to situations if we have to survive. So, here the survivor of an emotional abuse should get into the survivor mode for survival, because it's very necessary for that woman to live her life, live a life of dignity, and to also take care of the other responsibilities. So maybe requesting a break would be appropriate, and during that break, what taking a break here means is, maybe when that in this case, when that woman is really feeling suffocated, maybe let her take a break to just inform the spouse that I'm taking a break, because this is like a little suffocating to me. Let me also go relax. Let me go to my parents' place, relax for a while, and I'll get back home. Is something that she can communicate. Like it helps to self monitor for that woman. She can take some time to look into her own self and build the kind of awareness, because this one incident alone cannot with just this one incident, that the woman cannot come to conclusion. She will have some history. If she's lived 4.5 to 5 years with a particular person, she will have a history of patterns of what she has faced or what she has gone through, what she is feeling, to just keep in touch with the authentic inner self, not to put up with things all the time, and always wallowing will not give a solution. Of course, we need to let out our emotions. Whenever we get the right kind of channels, we need to let out our emotions, but getting into action is also very important, because by only sitting and crying, it's not going to help, because we have to survive, we have to live, and acknowledge and even predict your triggers during conflict. So, as I explained some time back, it's important for us to know what is our response when somebody is emotionally abusing the person. The person can show passive aggression, the person can stonewall, the person can give a silent treatment. So, what is the response of the other partner? No, uh, some men indulge in kind of very, they don't know how to act to it, they don't know how to react to the silent treatment of the wife. So, banging on the wall, like indulging in self harm, like cutting the hand, all this I have seen, all these kind of patterns I have seen. So, this is a response. So, somewhere it just shows our own vulnerability. To look into our own vulnerability is very important, because only when we become emotionally strong, we can fight through life. It is a survival strategy which definitely we need to learn if we have to put up with it. Whether we are going to continue that relationship or not is a different concept. But whatever be the scenario, so once you are getting out of this pattern also, somewhere else when you are put up, maybe you have a colleague who can have similar patterns. The colleague, it can be someone who is a passive aggressor. So without knowing the techniques of how to deal with people, if we are going to show the same pattern, we'll end up either resigning that particular job, or just shutting off from the person, or showing face to the person when we get angry because we cannot exhibit outside. Sometimes when we are indulging in a conversations, there is a chance that we might let out words, or we go shut ourselves in our private space. And there is also a possibility that we carry it in our head, and even after getting back home we are still thinking about that abusive colleague. So the best option is to self-help and predict our triggers of what we are generally doing. What is the pattern? To observe the pattern which I am exhibiting, which needs to be changed in order to shut down certain behaviors from the partner. Then become good at seeing the emotions rising in your spouse. Only when I am emotionally strong and I become little calm and composed, I can observe the other person. Otherwise I will not understand what is happening. I cannot behave like a helpless person and seeking help from parents, because all of us get married when we are 18 plus nowadays by law. Marriages are acknowledged at the age of 21. No, they say that even the பெண்ணின் திருமண வயது 21. So 21-year-old woman can go ahead for marriage. And similarly for men, there is a criteria for marriage. Generally, for as our society considers men to be the breadwinners, I think at least by the age of 24 only they might initiate marriages these days. And so it's also applicable for men. Whatever I'm saying is applicable for both men and women who are suffering this kind of an abuse. So first, when we are able to keep a watch over our emotions, change or try to change those emotional patterns, when we feel that this particular behavior of us is what the spouse needs. Maybe the spouse needs that if I give her a silent treatment, she will go and cry. Let me give it to her. So, you giving the response itself can be a trigger for the person, can be an something nice, some feel good when the person is generally a narcissistic stonewaller. A person is a narcissistic stonewaller who is intentionally doing it. Then the required response for that person may be crying, and once the person gets that response from the spouse, then the person feels better, and the person will continue that behavior because that is what he wants to see or she wants to see. Okay. And Yeah, so once I know what I'm doing, and I stop what I mean reacting, when I'm putting food for the pigeons, no, and then complain that the pigeons are shitting in my terrace. I'm the one who puts food for that pigeons, and then I complain that the pigeons are dirtying my terrace. Then I don't think it's the pigeon's mistake. When I stop putting grains again, the pigeon will stop coming to my terrace. It will stop shitting on my terrace. Hope I made it clear. So, um, only when my emotions are intact and I know what I'm doing, I'll be able to watch what are the triggers of my spouse. When is my spouse getting angry? So, when we are able to watch that, when it is an unintentional kind of emotional abuse, unintentional is in unintentional abuse, they are doing certain kind of behaviors not because they want to make the other person feel bad, or they get some pleasure out of it, or they get that winning feeling. That is not maybe sometimes people want. They only want escapism from what they are going through. For example, maybe the person is not financially strong enough, maybe that person has financial debts, but just to not feel insulted in front of the wife, maybe in that example he conveyed that I will give it to you in a week's time. No, just he just conveyed it because he doesn't want to face that reality, that it is very insulting for me to go and convey to my wife that I am going through a financial crisis, or I have debts, because I want to look like a hero to my wife, but I'm unable to look like a hero, so let me use this kind of a technique to help myself, can be the intention of the person. So, unintentional narcissistic abuse is sometimes because of the incapacities or some kind of vulnerability the person has, which the person doesn't want to show off. For example, a wife who definitely knows that she has some fertility issue, because of which they're not able to have a child, might refuse to come for treatment because the very fact of looking at the reports is scary to her. The very fact of trying something is scary to her, because maybe she is very scared of the results. Maybe it might not work out because I have a problem. I She might know that she has um, some kind of problem, but it is very shameful for her to face it and to go through it, and she's also afraid because the husband and in-laws are also involved in this process. So when they come to know I cannot face it, so let me use different kinds of tactics to escape from the situation, because it is hard for me to face it. And in this process they forget one important thing, that more than you facing it, or your husband knowing it, or whatever it is, here the most important thing is to get the right kind of treatment, because you, as a couple, that couple need a child to like carry on, move forward with their married life. So, in these cases, the important point to come to a solution, that is what the person who's causing the unintentional abuse is not looking at. So, in these cases, if we can, I'm talking about the person who is being a survivor, if that individual can be more patient, and also look at the kind of emotions the other person who is causing the abuse is going through, whether it is shame, whether it is guilt, whether it is anger, what is that person going through, is trying to understand the other person. When a break is necessary, yes, as I told you, just going and staying in the mother's place for a period of time, by just mentioning that I'm not going out of anger, let us take some time. Let me just be there for 10 days and I'll get back because I'm feeling a little suffocated and stressed. And then engaging in self soothing behaviors of that individual's choice. For some people, just chit chatting with the parents can, we're not again talking about problems, just a casual chit chat, going and meeting cousins, going to your friend with to a coffee shop, just giving a refreshment, no, and these kind of things. And partner knows that you see when things are getting too heated, and you would both benefit from some time apart. One thing here which the survivor is teaching the abuser by taking this kind of a decision is that whatever it is, at one point I will come back and the same question will be put forward and you are answerable to it. So the person also gets some time to work on it, because every individual is not the same. We cannot tell that every person causing a sort of emotional abuse is not going to cooperate. We cannot say that. It depends on the individual and the intensity of how much of kind of abusive traits they have. So depending on that, there is a possibility for them also to take the time to heal, and also to come to a conclusion. Okay, it's fine. Let me communicate this to her. We are pushing the other person by taking certain steps to a point where they can think about it. And utilize self-soothing techniques. This is what I was talking to you earlier about. No, yeah, it can be anything. It can be anything in this. A long drive, trekking, rangoli, depending on the gender and their interest, personal interest. All these can, treating ourselves well can be a good way. Don't disengage completely. So, when somebody is emotionally flooded, you know that your spouse is extremely angry, then don't begin a conversation. When you feel that the other person is uncomfortable, don't get into it. So that would be the best thing to do. And maybe we can give statements without pointing fingers, like what we saw in our previous sessions. Instead of pointing fingers at people and not using harsh words, a communication like, I can see that you're disturbed. I'm going to I'm going to shower later. Let's see if we are able to talk when I get back. Just a break. So this reassures the stonewaller or the person causing the abuse that you haven't given up on them, but you're just maintaining boundaries. You're respecting boundaries. You're also respecting their emotions, and you're not going to be treated as if you don't exist and don't matter. It's very important for me to be recognized in my marriage life. If that individual as a partner needs to know certain things, what they need to know, what you did with the common finances, what you did with the common money, what were certain responsibilities which you needed wanted to really address, the other person should know, because it's very important, because it's a shared bond which the couple have created for each other. And yeah, so it's not that if you do this, I will not going to question you and I will just become totally silent and you win. And I will use it as a method to repeat it again and again, if at all the other person can do this. It also gives the survivor time to self soothe and manage the emotions that arise when you've been stonewalled. Yeah, this is what we earlier spoke about. Go with your emotions. It can be your spouse still, but it's not that I'm dedicated, my whole life is dedicated towards my spouse. It's not like that for both the parties. Both the parties, in the sense, the husband as well as the wife, or it can be even people who are in who can be lovers, who can have a boyfriend, girlfriend. It's applicable for everyone. Seeking help is very important. And one more thing which people who are attracting similar patterns of people into their life needs to know is to just ask the self, ask the person's self, are you drawn to people who shut you out because that is a familiar aspect of your upbringing? Maybe that the individual would have had these kind of traits in the father, and maybe that individual attracted a wife who had similar patterns because I'm used to it. That is the kind of world I already know. So I attracted this kind of a person into my life. I felt comfortable with this person because it felt like home to me. But in my home, I've had people who had similar patterns, could also be one of the reason. And some people, sometimes they get into a relationship, when that doesn't work, they break, maybe they get into another relationship. But one mistake or that they're making is they're again making an invite to people with similar kind of patterns into their life. Then there is something within vulnerability within that individual who's always welcoming people with these kind of traits, abusive traits into the life. Maybe that individual can have an inferiority complex where the person is settling down for less. These victims and survivors can be people who are generally settling for something less because that is what the past life taught them. So it's okay to work with a therapist. It is okay to meet understanding people, people who are emotionally intelligent. Okay, we can go with our emotions, but it's always important to carry our brain with us. Follow your heart, but please carry your brain along with it. It's not that you have to do it only with the outside world. Even within our own family, sometimes we are in situations where we need to take such decisions, you know, to just stand for ourselves is very important. And to just understand that individual's self-worth, that is what we do in therapeutic sessions, to help enable that individual to know what their self-worth is, and what they deserve to be respected, they deserve to be acknowledged. Everyone has their own self identity, which is more important in a relationship. Self respect, self dignity, whether it is a woman or a female, even if it is a marital relationship, it is important to maintain self respect, which is most important. That is the basic foundation of a healthy relationship: mutual respect, mutual trust, mutual love. If these things do not exist, there wouldn't be a point in just continuing the relationship. Final thoughts about this stonewalling is stonewalling can obviously destroy relationships if not handled in the right way. Yeah, obviously, the survivor can have a emotional trauma. So, as I spoke to you some time back, it can be a learned behavior. I will give you an example. Maybe a boy had a very strict father. He could not open his mouth all through his life during school days, college days. He used to be like very aggressive, he would hit them. And he also had elder brothers of similar patterns. So the only consoling soul was the mother, and the mother passed away after a few years. So the boy learns a particular pattern. Uh, um, the boy learns a particular pattern to put up with whatever he's going through. By doing some certain things which he wants to do in a stealthy way. He learns to speak lies because he's scared of getting scoldings. Maybe he wants out to go and play, but he's pretty sure that whether his father sees him or his elder brother sees him, he will get into trouble. So he will communicate that I'm going to study in my friend's house, or I'm going to tuition, and he might bunk the tuition and go to play. So this is a learned behavior. It's okay to hide things, to tell lies, because to avoid getting into trouble, avoid getting beatings or getting scolded by my father or brother. I'm using this technique. Hiding, lying, cheating is what the boy learned. Okay. So this is just an example. This is classical conditioning. So, the same boy, when he becomes a man, has become even more clever in hiding things and manipulating and just no, that is the learned pattern in the workplace, and remaining silent, because this boy's pattern is not a aggressive pattern. He's been very passive. He's been passive, and he can do passive aggressive behaviors without the brother's knowledge. Maybe he's angry on the brother. He doesn't know how to show that anger out because the brother is more aged, physically also stronger than him. So what can he do? He can break his brother's pen when he's not around. So this is a passive aggressive behavior. Without the knowledge of the brother, he can do that, or he can take the refill off and go away, and the brother keeps searching everywhere or breaks it off. So something like that, no? Or picks it up also. Picks it up so that he will come and search and he will not find it, and he will be shouting. When he is shouting, maybe this boy enjoys that behavior. This is just an example. The same pattern will come in a marital life with the spouse. So we don't know what kind of a spouse this person is going to get. No, the spouse is again the kind of aggressive pattern because that is feel at home for him. Or by luckily, if he is getting someone like his mother, and if he is not feeling that fearful, if he is feeling comfortable with the wife, then that is a very positive thing for him. He can be molded. He can be molded because this is classical conditioning. If he's getting a wife who has similar patterns like his mother, who's emotionally a strong person, will is capable of providing that classical conditioning to him. When she's showing a lot of love to him, when she's treating him the right way, when she's giving him the freedom and the space to do what he's really wanting to do, when she is acknowledging him, all these manipulative behaviors will definitely change. If you agree with me, please put a thumbs up. No? There is a possibility. Yes, definitely. I'm talking about the unintentional narcissistic patterns of people. Intentional is totally very different. These intentional people, it is very difficult to work with. But due to vulnerabilities or due to situations or due to the incapacities, some people are learned a kind of pattern, and this pattern can be changed when the spouse is emotionally intelligent. And as mental health professionals, we have a very important role here to play to analyze both the couple by speaking separately to the wife, by speaking separately to the husband, and to understand each of their patterns and to help them to rewire it by giving some, to begin with some small steps like being aware of what they're doing, and it's okay to forgive. at times, and hold on to more patience, because initially all of us want to have a relationship working. No, last option would be to depart. That is in cases where it cannot be resolved, and it is leading to more damage. Then it is better to part ways, and that decision is taken by that particular couple, not us. We are only a support system for them. So, together to craft a relationship that leaves both feeling loved and appreciated. No, love each other, appreciate each other. So like that, now that particular emotionally abusive person, when he feels that when he or she feels that they are not going to be judged for what they are, because I have a nice friend with me, nice person with me, so let I'm getting that space to do what I'm wanting to do now, which I did not get earlier. So I am very lucky, and no, my life has changed. So when that individual really feels all this, then slowly that behaviors, the conditioning happens. It's okay to speak the truth because she will not scold me. It's okay to speak the truth because she will not judge me. The similar is for the man. Okay, maybe like when the man who's married feels that no, that way, or whether it is a female who thinks that my husband is not going to uh, question me or suspect me, or like I can be comfortable with him, I be safe with him, I feel safe, so it's okay to tell him what I really feel or share with him what I felt, and I don't have to hide my vulnerabilities to him. He's a very understanding person. Then maybe I try to change the patterns which I had in my childhood, because I learned a particular, the person learned, especially let us come back to that boy who had a strict father and a strict brother. So in his case, so he learned a particular behavior when situations were in a certain way. There is a possibility for him to unlearn that behavior, and he can again relearn it. So the society around is teaching him to learn certain behaviors, unlearn certain behaviors, and relearn it. And still, it is the attitude of that particular individual which will convert him that way. If you have a positive, open-minded attitude, due to situational reasons, you just became like this, then that person will definitely feels that if my wife is not at home for 20 days because of whatever I did, but I want her because I truly want to stay in connect out of real love. I want her. I want her back. If he feels so, he will try to change it. He will work on the relationship. Similarly, a woman who feels that I genuinely love this person, I'm willing to work on whatever is not okay with me, then fine. Things will go on fine. Even in the therapeutic session, things will go on fine. Not everybody who is having narcissistic traits or showing certain abusive traits have a personality disorder. When person have a personality disorder also, depending on the intensity of how much of disorder the person has, still that can be worked and sorted. In extreme cases, when the partner feels that I tried certain things but still it is not working and it is very suffocating for me, when especially when that particular individual is very rigid, unwilling to change, not considerate, not at all considerate about the spouse. The person who's considerate will make an effort. If I'm not at all consider, அவ எப்படி நினைச்சா எனக்கு என்ன, அவன் என்ன நினைச்சா எனக்கு என்ன, அப்படின்னு நினைச்சா work ஆகும். அப்போ வந்து I think there can be a point where we can take our decision. Uh, like Not considerate about the relationship, not even considerate about the kids. Even there are females who can do that. We have clients who are like that. The survivor can think of parting ways. I have a question to you all. So, whether let us just think that, I mean, just imagine a situation where a wife is emotionally very manipulative and emotionally abusing the husband all the time. Okay, and it is 10 years of marriage. 10 years of marriage. They didn't have kids for a few years due to some issues that she had. Later on, they had kids, and both the kids are school going kids now. So, these many years, due to the friction which the mother and the father have, the children are suffering a lot. The wife is interested in multiple partners, and this is a kind of addiction which she has on social media. She's interested on many partners. She just gets into random sex chat with people and is very manipulative, only wants the husband for money, utilizes him. Then she's not a, like when we suggest to go for a divorce if she's not comfortable with the spouse, she says that her parents do not allow her considering the society, so let me just pretend like his wife for the society and let me do what makes me happy is the response she is giving. When this is the kind of relationship she is in, and the husband is not happy with whatever is happening at home. On one side he has developed some habits due to this continuous lack of presence of the wife. He gets into he was not an alcoholic. Now I mean, on recent days, due to these kind of behaviors which he's noticing in the wife, he's become very, like, this is not a reason, we can definitely not use it as a reason, but he is giving this as a reason that I've become alcoholic. Every day without consuming alcohol I'm not able to fall asleep, is what he says. So the question, coming back to the question to you, in such a case, would we still consider or would we still encourage them to repair each other and to stay in the relationship just for the sake of children? Is option A. Just for the sake of children, please be in the relationship because for the society, according to society, you are supposed to live as a family, husband, wife, children. Because you have two children, you both have to live together, is option A. Option B is, it's right, if you are not okay with your husband, please part ways, and then we can mutually, when it's a mutually they get separated, they can decide on the who are going to like keep the children with them. Generally they don't separate siblings. As per the court, they don't separate the siblings. Either the mother can have it or the father can have it, depending upon the age and the gender of the child. So in this case, do you feel option B of parting ways would be a better option? So you can either type, you can type yes. Gomati ma'am says option B. Yes, Aarti says option B. Yes. Yes. Obviously, it is a very wrong concept that if we have children, it's okay to like lead that suffocative life, saying giving the reason that it is for the children, it is for the children. Definitely not. Still, when they're parted, suppose if there is a chance that both, in this case both the children are male children, and they are like 10, yeah, 10 and the other one must be 9 or something. So little grown up, they also have this option to in the hearing to decide on whom they want to be with. So if they're opting the father, then yes, kids' mental health is the most important. So maybe they get into it. Um, yeah. Uh, I wanted to begin with gaslighting, but then before that, I wanted to complete some unfinished facts. There is 10 more minutes for us to wind up. So I just want you to just get introduced to the concept of gaslighting. Most of you might be knowing what it is. It's a form of manipulation where the individual is questioning their own self. You can give it a reading, but I want to utilize this last 10 minutes of our session for you to give some feedbacks, to share your thoughts, to speak out what you feel, so that it's useful for us when we are able to exchange ideas. Most of us here are mental health professionals, and exchange of ideas can be very helpful for us to help others. And in our known circle, also, we see many people who are going through this. Anyone can give your opinions. You can share some valuable points. You can even share about your takeaway. Feel free to talk.
Ma'am, all these are really very heavy in some way or the other. I cannot talk about others. I also go through a lot. And what I have observed is when it comes to me, you know, we mostly react. We don't respond. These are all the strategies which you are helping us to deal with. Is all not reaction. It's the respond attitude. But for being respond, we have to be little detached. We have to be little conscious about how we are responding, how we are reacting, and what might be the situation. For example, இப்போ குழந்தை பொய் சொல்றது பண்றதுன்னா in a way அது வந்து as a parent it might be my mistake that I have given him such situations or such a thought process or a judgmental process that இது பண்ணினா அம்மா கண்டிப்பா ஒத்துக்க மாட்டா. She won't be in a position to understand my point of view. So it's better to close the situation. Let me take up a lie. So when that one lie gets succeeded, another lie, then another lie, another lie. Then one point of time, they don't even ready to accept that it is a lie. They just say, when you are not in a position to understand, um, what is the point of expressing it to you? Point number two is, at the time I felt this is possible, but now it is not possible. How come it becomes a lie? You know, all these things, we find it really very difficult to pull on, ma'am, frankly speaking. And I don't know how to be little, you know, when somebody is agitated or showing frustrations or doing something, just we have to remind ourselves, okay, first listen to them, take a pause, breathe in, then you answer one by one with patience. When we really do this, we can be with any person, be it a husband or a child or whatever it is. எனக்கு
Exactly.
இவாளோட ஒத்து போகாது அப்படிங்கிற அந்த ஒரு இதுவே வராது. We can be with any personalities. But this is where the problem is, na ma'am. So, what is the solution, ma'am?
We will look into the drama triangle when we are looking for solutions on working on gaslighting. So I think you will get some better clarity on how we can take it across.
So gaslighting is nothing negative, right, now, ma'am? Indirectly, we are poking. Is that right? Gaslighting.
It's definitely negative where people are emotionally manipulating. No,
Hmm.
yeah, yes.
So we can also do that. That is right way. Do you say?
I'm not asking you to do that. I'll speak to you in private.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, ma'am. I could not get it. Yeah.
Someone else? Someone wanted to speak?
Yeah,
Yes,
Gomati.
ma'am.
Uh, as a takeaway note, today we can note that vulnerability, no, ma'am. Our vulnerabilities attracts those partners, no. That is, I wanted to take that as a key points today, because uh, when I went through so many things, no, I when I started fixing my vulnerabilities and my behavioral patterns, no, it is very useful for me to listen what is happening, what the opposite person is doing, like that.
Exactly.
We can able to see. Yeah, only not only complaining or blaming the partners, no, spouse. If we start working on ourselves, no, we can reclaim our this thing self-respect or dignity
Generally,
and all
in
that.
couple counseling, also, ma'am, when both are not attending,
Ah,
also, I have seen that if one partner
mhm.
is consistently coming, we can bring a change in the
Yes,
quality of the relationship.
yes,
When
ma'am,
the
surely.
behavioral outcomes of one person, output of what they are
Mm.
exhibiting outside, no, when that is changing, the other person also brings in changes, is what is something that I have seen in what I've practiced.
Okay. Yeah, ma'am. It is based, as you said, it is based on the severity, ma'am. It is
Yes, yes,
intentional or unintentional.
definitely.
Based on that, the changes can be, we can get the changes from the opposite and though the person having the traits, no. If he is having traits, means it is okay. There may be changes, but if it is done intentionally, and everything in every communication they are finding some faults or gaslighting or distorting the reality, whatever they do know, it is very hard. The changes is not possible, ma'am. Finally, based on the severity, the final decision can be taken.
Definitely, definitely, because everyone has this option to put their foot down also.
But the victim know which path she is going to choose. That is the crossroads. No, I'm going to live as a victim or a partner, or I'm going to reclaim my self respect or
Exactly.
whatever, my identity, whatever. Yeah, that clarity and self awareness, it will lead us to the good decision. Ma'am.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Thank you, Gomati,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yeah,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I request the others who want to speak to share your thoughts privately, or you can put it in our group, our support group. So, thank you, participants. Thank you for your time and thank you for patiently listening to me. You've been such a wonderful audience because, like, throughout, you didn't drop out. That itself is a very big thing for a facilitator. Thank you so much.
Thank you.